Ladies and gentlemen, founder member of the British National Party, former deputy leader and acting chairman at one time. Please give it up for Richard Edmonds.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, fellow members. Yes, I'll be challenging this year, and as your chairman has said, there'll be a question and answer session later on. And listen, you got the questions? Ask the questions. Any question, all questions, and they'll be given an answer. All questions, any questions that you think are relevant to the party. I'm a member of the party. There are other members in this party. We all have our opinions. Let's have these opinions debated. I am standing in this election to challenge the leadership this year, because this year there needs to be a challenge. Like last year, this year there needs to be a challenge. Our party is floundering and our party is in great danger. And I say this despite the knowledge that at the moment there are brave, wonderfully brave candidates out there in the field campaigning. There are wonderful activists out there in the field backing them up, talking and campaigning as we're talking this evening. I say and I know that our party is in great danger. Our party is facing ruination. Our party is facing finito. I don't say that with any pleasure. I'm a founder member of this party. I've been in this party 29 years, so I don't say that with any pleasure. On the contrary, it is a scandal and a huge danger to our party that in spite of the millions of pounds that our wonderfully generous members have donated, in spite of the millions of pounds that our members have donated in the last few years, our party is in debt to the sum of hundreds of thousands of pounds. We are in debt to the sum of hundreds of thousands of pounds to patriotic, loyal, supportive printers who last year, for last year's general election, printed millions of leaflets for us. They printed them, we had a contract, and the contract clearly that we would pay them for this. 12 months later, these patriotic, loyal printers, without whom we couldn't have had a general election campaign, have not been paid. This is not only morally wrong and shameful and disgraceful, it is also illegal, because the fact is, as most of us who've campaigned in elections know, that you can't run an election campaign on credit. All the expenses have to be paid within 28 days of polling day. Fact. Within 28 days of polling day, all expenses have to be paid. A year later, there are printers who still have not been paid. And they're in the process of bringing cases against us. It's coming out in the courts, as inevitably the truth always does come out. This is a double or treble scandal in that on the advisory council, there was an advisory council meeting which I attended at the end of May of last year, about 3 weeks after the general election, on the advisory council, where we were informed in the presence of the chairman. The National Treasurer informed us 3 or so weeks after polling day, May 2010. He informed the party leadership all bills have been paid, there are no outstanding debts. Now, either the National Treasurer was lying, or he's a total fool who doesn't know what he's talking about. And that is the standard of information, the quality of information, inverted commas, at the top of this party. And I say, this is one of the gross mismanagements. The financial scandal, the financial dangers, is one of the gross mismanagements that the present party leadership is guilty of. Another gross mismanagement, on which could yet destroy our party, is the constant, ongoing sackings, demotions, suspensions and expulsions of wonderful, worthy, capable men and women members who have served this party loyally and now find themselves excluded, to their personal pain and to the loss of the party. With regard to this personnel problem, no party can survive this scale of bloodletting. No party can survive this hemorrhaging of talented, trusting members of goodwill and members of experience. No party can survive that. I can tell you, before we launched this campaign, there was a great deal of planning went into it. In fact, ever since Eddie had his campaign last year, we have been thinking, talking, planning, and watching the situation get ever more serious. Let me tell you the how of our campaign. Let me tell you what our purpose is. First of all, the primary purpose of this campaign is to construct a platform to inform the members of the dangers facing this party. If the members don't know what the dangers facing this party, the shocking dangers, the debts, the hundreds of thousands of pounds that we're in debt, where this party is being taken to court. This party could be closed down in the bankruptcy courts by a dozen different organisations. Closed down, finito, end of. The members need to know that. The members need to know the seriousness of the situation. We have been, I think one of the earlier speakers referred to it. John here, our candidate, our chairman referred to it. There have been meetings like this up and down the country where members are getting together like members here. There's been meetings in the south, in the Midlands and in the north. I'll refer to them, I'll come back to one of them. I attended a meeting in Newcastle only last month. About 60 to 70 people at this meeting in Newcastle. Eddie spoke at the meeting, I spoke at the meeting, other people spoke at the meeting. I'll come back to that meeting, that excellent meeting in Newcastle in a minute. The second purpose of us holding these meetings, in addition to telling you the facts, which as adults we need to know and to face, is that the good news is, so to speak, if we all stick together and act together, I am confident that we can solve these problems. Let me refer back to that meeting in Newcastle, organised by our former North East regional organiser, an excellent man called Ken Booth, who recently, for reasons known to the party leadership, was demoted from being regional organiser down to the branch organiser of Newcastle, which is still something. Newcastle is a very fine city. It's a very fine city. Go up there and you still feel you're in England, Britain actually, which is more than us godforsaken Londoners can say at times. Newcastle's a fine city. In Newcastle, we made our speeches, we were listened to, 70 people turned up, and I will say this, I'm going to say this now, deliberately I'm going to say this. We made our speeches and then the meeting was thrown open to the floor, and very correctly, all questions could be asked, all questions could be posed, all brief statements could be made, and I will give to you what I think was the summing up, how I sum up the general feeling of those members up there in Newcastle, from the floor, the activists, the members from the floor, and I would say that the general feeling was they were concerned about the seriousness of the problems. They asked us and said, how do you propose solving these problems? And we said, there's going to be a challenge, there's going to be a leadership challenge, we're going to challenge within the party constitution. The party constitution, of course, allows for a leadership challenge every year. There's going to be a leadership challenge, we're going to debate these matters and discuss them. And then I will say this is just my conclusion from that meeting, that the average member up there in Newcastle, a lot of members spoke, and the average feeling was this, that Nick Griffin has done a good job, the party has prospered, gone up the ladder, succeeded, whether it's all down to Nick Griffin or not, it's a bit irrelevant. The party was going forward, And when he and Andrew Bronze got elected to the Euros, the feeling was that, with hindsight, or at the time, that Nick Griffin should have resigned as chairman of this party and stood down as chairman, represented the BNP, represented Britain in the European Parliament, and that it's since then, since the last 2 years, these dreadful decisions have been made, which I've been referring to here. That was the feeling of the meeting up there in Newcastle, that Nick Griffin should be thanked for his efforts and asked to stand down. The time has come for Nick Griffin to stand down as chairman, let another team take over that, and I'm going to talk about the team in a minute, that he was tired, distracted, lost focus, and that it's become more and more and more apparent in the last 2 years since he's been over there in Brussels. Now, I've made some serious allegations about the state of this party. I said this party is facing ruination. I want you to understand it's just not me saying this. I'm going to quote to you from the auditor's report about the finance of this party. We are required by law, by the PPERA, the Political Parties, Elections and Referendums Act of Parliament. They came out in the year 2000. We are answerable for our conduct, for our good conduct, to the Electoral Commission, and as part of that we have to get our books audited every year by an outside set of chartered accountants. And this is the report that they produced in January of this year. Silver and Company up there in the Midlands. And I'm going to quote to you the last sentence in their umpteen pages. It's 29 pages of this. This is the last page of their report. They talk about the parties. This came out on the 6th of January this year. Silver and Company, 25 Park Road, Cannock, Staffordshire. They say in their last sentence, the party's current financial position regarding its creditors, all the money we owe to various businesses up and down Great Britain, the party's current financial position regarding its creditors, the question arises whether the party can continue as a going concern. Now that's not Richard Edmonds or anybody else. That's not Richard Edmonds or Chris Roberts or John here. That is the outside auditors. The question arises whether the party can be considered as a going concern because of for the financial mess we're in. So when I say to you there are problems, there are enormous problems. Finito, we're looking at the end. However, the end has not yet arrived, and I have no doubt that the members of this party, if we all stick together and act together, we can save this situation. I have no doubt about that. Otherwise, I couldn't be here tonight. Or if I was, I'd be saying something else. Let me make 2 more points here.